Are you feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or struggling with your mental well-being? Taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. With Aurora Mental Health and Recovery, you can get the care you need. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, or simply need someone to talk to, we can help. So if you're ready to take control of your mental health, visit auroramhr.org today. That's auroramhr.org. Aurora Mental Health and Recovery is here for you.
You're listening to the Dollop on the All. Some of you are watching. Some of you are watching. You're listening to the Dollop on the All Things Comedy Network. This is an American history podcast where each week I, Dave Anthony, read a story from American history to man with hat and shorts.
Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic is going to be about. Doing a lot of visual stuff for the Patreon right now.
Oh.
So if you want to watch Dave and I look down the barrel of the camera on Dave's casting couch, join the Dollop Patreon. He just winked into his.
This is a casting couch. This is where
you sleep.
This is where sometimes when I snore.
This is your fart couch.
No, I don't have a fart couch.
What?
I have a fart area. It's called the house.
The fart zone. That should happen.
You know what I was thinking is that we should.
That would be so funny to have like a room at a restaurant that was for passing gas.
So we should. I mean, ideally,
farting or none.
Ideally, we could recreate it and sell the chair, but
I just really think it's a good idea. I really do. I think what we should do is recreate the chair and then do some sort of fundraiser for the chair.
Yeah.
And then we could start a GoFartMe. And then we give someone the fart chair, and we give the money to a charity.
A fart charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something.
Fartery.
There. It's close there. Yep. Farity. But yeah, I mean,
people who suffer from constant farts.
Yes.
I watched a TikTok or Instagram thing today where a guy always orgasms. He can't.
Oh right.
He has an orgasm thing. Well, he'll be just
and he's
walking,
in hell.
And he's just like,
and
he falls on the ground playing golf, and he stands up and he goes, I just had 9. You're like...
just the fucking... that is awful. I would get castrated.
Yeah, well, I will castrate you.
Okay, well, I don't have the... Yeah, right, okay, all right. But anyway, this is the Dollop. We're the bad boys. We also have an Apple Plus. Go there. There's a second season of the UK series. We're not done recording.
No, we still have more to come.
Got reverse smollops. Whatever you want.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yep. Well, I mean, just
grab
those
an
things,
apple.
really.
We got all kinds of fruit. We got fruit bowl.
Stop.
So this episode, research was done by Charlotte George, and Charlotte has done a lot of our episodes.
She's Australian.
Australian. She's a director and a writer, and she has created a new series that is really good.
Yeah.
I've watched the first part, and I've watched some previews of all the other ones, but it's good.
Yeah.
It looks very good.
Looks very good, very funny.
It's called Buried. The basic idea is it's a mom with a little kid, and
something happens.
Something bad happens, and then she doesn't handle it right.
A relatable problem that she handles improperly.
And then, hijinks.
As with any good product, hijinks ensues.
But I showed the trailer to Gareth, and Gareth was like, "No, that looks amazing."
Looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks legit.
Yeah,
so it's at buriedtheseries.com.
That's correct.
And it's just all there online for you.
Yeah.
So
please check out Charlotte's stuff.
Share, watch.
She does a lot of work for us here.
We got drunk with her one night.
We got drunk with her one night on Zoom.
Wait, I thought we met her in person.
No, I was kidding.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be amazing.
You didn't do Zoom drinks in the first...
Oh, yeah, I guess I did a couple times.
Dude, I did.
Well, I know you did.
Wild Zoom drinks. Sometimes I just turned on Zoom alone, just so I was like, I'm doing Zoom drinks. And I would just drink on the Hans. What?
August 2nd. This is not the right date.
This is a bad start.
Well, maybe it is.
Jesus.
No, it is. It is. God, he's that young. August 2nd, 1984.
He's that young? This is going to be... I'm about to hear... I'm going to know this person, obviously.
Yeah.
This person is younger than me.
You might. Do you watch the news?
I've watched...
You might not know who it is. James Donald Bowman was born in Middletown, Ohio.
James Bowman.
It's an industrial city 30 miles north of Cincinnati.
Okay.
His parents, Beverly Carroll and Donald Ray Bowman.
Oh, now I know who he is. Donald Ray. Yep.
Yeah. He was called JD. It's a nickname.
Stop it.
No, it's Bowman. The last name is Bowman.
Stop it.
He had he had an older half sister, Lindsay.
Oh my God, dude.
JD's grandfather was called Papa.
Dave.
Papa. Papa.
Oh boy. He would like the fart couch.
His grandfather was named James Lee Vance. He's from Kentucky.
Oh, Jimmy Lee Vance. So, Dave, let me just. I'm just gonna try to put the pieces together.
Go ahead.
Nope, nothing. Go ahead.
No. He had an older half sister, Lindsay. He was married. JD's grandfather married his wife Bonnie when he was 17 and she was 14.
You know, it's look. It's not creepy until he's 19 and she's 16. Stop winking.
An ex-neighbor said James got her pregnant at 13, so they had to get married.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
13 is young.
Oh, yeah. And then after that, they moved to Middleton, Ohio, which was more industrialized, less poverty there.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Baby lived a week.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Didn't make it. JD would call his grandmother, Beverly, Mama.
So, was it Mima or Mama?
Mima. I think it's Mama.
I want it to be Mima.
It's not Mima. It's not. It's M-A-M-A-W.
So Papa and Mama.
She had 3 kids: Jimmy, Beverly, and Lori.
Okay.
So Papa worked for a steel company.
Sure.
And JD's grandparents were committed Democrats. They loved the Dems.
Yeah. Stop the steal. Yeah, okay.
They hated the coal companies and thought not all rich people were bad, but all bad people were rich.
Ooh.
Kind of right there with them.
Yep.
But they believe in the American dream. They still believe in the American dream. Mama, quote, never be like those fucking losers who think the deck is stacked against them. You can do anything you want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Fucking, he can, too.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. JD's mom, Bev, was born in 1961, and by the mid-'60s, Papa, he was drinking. His drinking was bad.
Sure.
And it led to domestic violence against the wife and kids.
There's no comedy there.
No. So Mama tried to get back at him in sort of bizarre ways.
Great.
Hiding his wallet in the oven.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cutting his pants while he slept.
What's she going for? She's like, I'll prank my way out of this. What's the angle here? I'll show him. Yeah, put a couple fingers in that warm water here, see what happens real quick. A little saran wrap on the toilet seat ought to fix this marriage's issues.
She'd serve him fresh garbage for dinner.
What? How? What kind? What is like the?
I don't know.
Is he like, the hell is this? This looks like shit. What is this, newspaper? This is the bottom half of a Wendy's cup.
Bottle caps?
This is the end of lettuce and the bottom half of a Wendy's cup with some shredded vegetable tops.
These are coffee grinds.
All right, what the fuck is this?
This is a fish skeleton.
I'll be honest, this dinner is not good. This is trash.
Exactly.
This is garbage.
Yeah.
Or the best part is if he's like, oh, he's good, honey.
Ah, it's nice.
Oh, nah. He's just eating cigarette butts. Pretty good fries.
I've had trash potatoes.
Trash potatoes.
Once, after a bender.
That gave you... That's what you...
I did.
You actually have had trash potatoes. You had to cancel 2 shows because of trash potatoes.
Yeah. Once after a bender, Papa was passed out. So Mama poured gasoline on him, lit a match, and dropped it on his chest.
Holy fuck.
Pranks!
Goofballs.
This week on...
You're on scare tactics.
This week on Mama's Pranks.
Yeah, okay.
Their 11-year-old daughter put out the fire and saved his life, and somehow he only had mild burns. But the marriage was over at that point. Like, that's a...
What's he... He's...
Well, he clearly didn't have the strength to work through the hard. Everyone says there's hard times in marriage that you have to work through.
Oh, yeah.
If you love the person.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Apparently, he didn't have that.
I would say most of my relationships, I've been lit on fire or have lit on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just kind of
90% at least.
Well, yeah, that's just kind of how you get through it.
So
we had a pretty big fight last night, so
what happened?
I don't know. It just escalated, and then I just put gas on her and lit her on fire.
Yeah. That's
but
metaphor.
We talked it out after.
It's a metaphor.
Huh?
That's a metaphor.
For what? That I lit her on fire?
Yeah.
What is it a metaphor for?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
You're saying it what you're saying, it's a metaphor, right?
What I'm saying is what happened.
You set your
Yeah, I put Dolores
on
fire last night. I mean, we just were... I deleted a show she wanted.
Yeah.
And then she really was upset. And I said, well, I said, we'll get Paramount for a week and we can finish watching it. But it just stuck in my craw. So I just covered her in gas and just lit her on fire for a second.
You shouldn't.
And then we have a fire blanket in the house. She put that on her, But today, we both woke up with a bit of a renewed sense of...
Is she scarred?
She was burned, but she's...
Does she have wounds?
She's fine now. But, I'm just so... I'm just like... I have to remember to cancel that subscription.
Okay.
Because otherwise you pay for that forever. That's
I
when
have to go call the police.
Yeah. Have you heard of Rocket Money?
So Bev, Mama, yes, Bev, Mama's daughter Bev.
Wow,
because Bev's Mama's also
JD's
Bev.
sister?
It's Bev too, really. But yeah, it's JD's. Bev has JD's sister.
Bev. Oh, right, gotcha.
Weeks after graduating high school, and she moves in with her boyfriend.
Okay.
But he was abusive, so she left.
Okay, good. She didn't go for any she wasn't like, I'm gonna
just
take one of his socks away and make it an irregular pair.
I'm gonna shave an eyebrow.
There you go.
No, she didn't do that. She leaves, and then she marries a guy named Don Bowman a few years later.
I think this works out.
And then JD is born in 1984.
Okay.
And Bev and Don broke up.
The perfect year for him to be born, because he's like, I'll get us back to it.
Yeah.
This is a great year.
So they break up a year later.
Oh, wow.
Bev and Don. But around the same time, Papa gets sober, and he gets back together with Mama.
Nice. It's amazing what knocking the bottle out of it might actually do. Look, I know I drank a lot and don't remember stuff, and I combusted you.
I set you on fire.
So we both did stuff.
Most of this comes from JD's book, Hillbilly Elegy, so I would say take it with a grain of salt.
Right. Is that just... So the Hillbilly Elegy, is that just a heightened version of his reality to some extent? Or is he portraying it as his reality?
He says it's his story. But the stuff like she fed him garbage at dinner, I'm like, yeah, no, sure she did.
Sure.
Like, so, he probably took some liberties,
sure.
Shall we say.
Sure.
So at age 6, JD was told he'd never see his father again.
Okay.
Because his dad had remarried and has a new family now.
I love that. That's like...
I can't do two.
Sorry, you know the rules. You only get one active one.
Sorry, I got a new boy 1.
Sorry, yeah.
Bye, boy 2.
Good luck.
JD quote...
I had a better boy.
JD quote, it was the saddest I've ever felt.
Well, that is sad. That is sad. That is sad.
I'm not sad for him. He's going to grow up to be a monster.
Hey, I'm still looking at a little boy.
Yeah, okay.
He doesn't have the beard yet. He's never inserted himself into a couch. He was born with a beard. Yeah. He's like a little Lego man.
Yeah, he's a little Lego guy. So, so Bev next marries a guy named Bob Hamill, and he adopts JD and Lindsay. And so JD's last name is now Hamill.
Okay.
So Bob and Bev bought a house.
Jeez, a lot of bees going on.
Walkable to Mama's, so very close in the neighborhood.
Sure.
Bev went to school and she got her nursing license.
Okay.
So they're not poor and they're happy.
Okay.
And JD and his mom bonded over football. Like, she really liked football, too. So when JD was 9, they decided to move to a more rural part, a remote part of Ohio.
Okay.
And JD says he knew it was the worst thing that could happen to him. It's not.
Well, I mean, that guy got lit on fire. But
you could get lit on fire.
that has happened in your circle.
Yeah, so you would think moving farther away is not.
Yeah, there's worse stuff.
Yeah. Bev and Bob's fighting was just getting worse, and he starts to get physical.
Bob does.
Bob. JD's grades.
He doesn't know who he's fucking with.
No. JD's grades are suffering because he can't sleep, and he's getting stomach aches.
Sure.
Little baby ulcers.
Sure.
Bev tries to kill herself after a fight with Bob. Jeez. She drives the family van into a pole.
Oh, shit.
And Mama's not sympathetic at all that her daughter tried to kill herself. Quote, "Who tries to kill themselves by crashing a fucking car? If she wanted to kill herself, I got plenty of guns."
I'm not kidding. That was like kind of what I was thinking. I'm not, just to be totally honest. I was like, that's how you know it was just like momentary like insanity, because you're just like, fuck it. Like if you're gonna do it, you'd be like, eh.
Yeah, there's plenty of guns around.
It's like
America.
a much like that. Surviving that, you're like, and now you're like, you broke a lot of bones.
Yeah.
So I'm on the side of Mama.
The worst is when people take a lot of pills, because often they survive and then there's a bunch of fucked up organs. Yeah.
But that ride.
So Bev takes the kids and moves back to Middletown.
Okay.
Now Bev she's single, right? And she starts hanging out with like a younger crowd, like people who don't have kids, partying. And once while driving, she gets into an argument with JD and threatens to crash the car and kill both of them.
She has a move.
That's just parenting.
She has a move, though.
Yeah, she knows it upset
like,
him once.
This is what the gun people say.
Yeah.
Like, you kill people with a car, too. Bev's like, exactly.
Exactly.
You don't need a gun.
Yeah.
Just go right hard. Like JD will.
You want to go through the windshield, motherfucker?
Yeah.
I've said that so many times to Phil.
Oh, God. Well, I've said that to Luke a lot.
Yeah. Well, we both have to Luke.
Yeah. By the way, we got a lot of Luke snacks teed up ready to go.
Oh, shit. Patreon.
We make Luke eat the craziest shit. Doesn't make any sense for a history show, but go ahead.
So she doesn't crash the car, but she pulls over because she's going to beat him, and JD then runs away from the car, and he runs to a nearby home, but Bev finds out where he is, kicks in the door, and then the cops are called. She gets arrested.
For what?
I don't know. Parenting?
What is she doing wrong?
I don't know. JD now moves in with Mama and Papa. Okay. And Mama read the Bible every day, but she's against organized religion.
Interesting.
She believed that God helps those who help themselves.
Interesting.
Also interesting. Like you.
Yep. That's what I believe.
Yeah, well, you say that's interesting, but she loved Billy Graham. She loved
she doesn't like organized religion, and yet the biggest religion coach of the era, she's like, yep.
I mean, that's organized crime religion.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
So JD gets in touch with his biological father, who invites him to his Kentucky farm, and there
How old is he now? What, 11?
He's around there.
Okay.
And there he finds a family that is calm. There's no shouting. There's no drinking. Like, it's like a family, right? And JD said this is due to, quote, a phenomenon social scientists have observed for decades. Religious folks are much happier. Regular churchgoers commit fewer crimes.
Well, Billy Graham.
Also, the crimes happen in the church with the diddling and whatnot. So,
It's just...
it's just nonsense.
It's safe to say that this crime is... Everyone... It's not... You can't really figure that out. Yeah.
They're Pentecostal.
Well, I will say Pentecostals commit less crimes because they die from snake venom so early.
So Dad tells JD he only gave up custody.
That's such a funny, hard cut of, what, would you like some more vegetables or maybe a little more... Pork, JD?
Wow, this family's amazing. What normal folks they are.
And then maybe after this, we'll watch a little bit of TGIF, huh? What do you say?
I like that, Dad.
Comedy or something like that.
I would like that, Dad.
But first, why don't we each have a handful of snakes and we'll just talk in tongues for a little while, and if we get bit, we'll ignore it.
What?
All right, here we go, everyone. You guys are so normal. Yeah, here's your post-dinner snakes. What?
Are we normal? Hold this cobra.
Gus got bit in the neck by a python. It's all right, JD. Gus is dead.
So Dad tells JD that he only gave up custody because he's worried the custody process would just be too traumatic, right? So that's why he walked away. So JD starts hanging out with his dad more often. And he gets closer to the evangelical church.
Okay.
Quote, my new faith had put me on the lookout for heretics. Hell yeah.
I'm a Baywatch for the Bible.
He also got into the culture war media, like the war on Christmas stuff.
Jesus
Quote,
Christ.
for the first time, I felt like a persecuted minority.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and by the way, you do have to try pretty hard to be able to do that when you're a white guy from Ohio. That whole war on Christmas thing jumped the shark when Megyn Kelly said that Santa was very clearly a white man.
Yeah.
That was when you're like, you know what? I don't think we should be doing this anymore.
So when Papa died, the family starts
Cremated
falling
him.
apart. Yeah.
I'll do it.
I'll do it right now.
I tried to do it 20 years ago.
Bev tried suicide again. She was arrested after she was standing in the street just yelling at people.
You can't do that in America?
No, not anymore. She was fired as a nurse for stealing drugs and rollerblading through the ER.
You can't. Okay, let me. What, Dave? Why don't we do this? Why don't you walk me through what you can do in this country?
I don't know, but
you can't rollerblade on oxys through the hospital any longer while you're at work.
All I hear is that you don't want your nurse to get around fast.
Let me tell you, if I'm in a hospital and I see a nurse rollerblading, I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm not only listening.
Who's that?
But I'm pitching that as a TV show.
By the way, skater. It's spelled skate, and then the ER's capital.
She was addicted to prescription pills.
Well, were there any signs?
No. JD moved in with Mama, and Bev asked JD to give, one day she comes and she asked JD to give her a clean urine sample, but he's just had it. He refuses. They get into a big argument, fight.
What? This is how you do that. You go, JD, I'm pretty sure you've been smoking pot, and I'm going to give you a fucking drug test right now.
Yeah.
Piss in this.
Yeah.
You don't go like,
And
hey,
then
son, can I grab you spare a little clean piss?
Just, you've been smoking pot, piss in this.
Piss in this. Yeah.
It just opens her mouth.
Oh, wait.
Oh, this got weird.
Yep.
So, Mama, also not great. She called JD a lazy piece of shit if he didn't take the garbage out, and shit for brains.
Dinner.
Shit for brains if he didn't do his homework.
Okay.
So she liked the word shit.
Shit for brains is definitely one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's great. Have I ever told you go shit in a hat story?
No, I don't know. Maybe.
When I was living in San Francisco, I was living with this guy, Vernon Chapman, who
I think you have told me this.
created Moomin Shots.
You created what?
Was it Moomin Shots? No, not Moomin Shots. What's the fucking name of the show? It was an MTV show with the puppets. God damn it. I forget what it's called.
Wait,
But
I think we have done this, and it's is it Liquid Television? Is that what you're talking about?
it wasn't Liquid Television. It was another. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay.
But it was a puppet. Like it was, and he'd have kids on the street, and it was crazy.
Wonder Shows.
Wonder Shows. He created Wonder Shows. So he used to do that when we lived together. But anyway, he had to call. It's like he had a job like calling to like sell roofing or something, like some fucking crazy job. And he called this woman, and she was like, I was sitting in the room, and he started talking. She goes, "Go shit in a hat." And then we thought it was so fucking funny. We called her every day. We called like 5 times a day, and she would only say, "Go shit in a hat," and hang up the phone.
Oh, it's so good.
And that's what I feel like Mama was.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Shit for brains.
So good. So his grades improved. He starts getting good grades.
Hey, less shit for brains.
Less shit for brains. He's put into an advanced math class.
No shit for brains.
He gets a job at the local grocery store.
Brains for brains?
And that, he says, turned him into an amateur sociologist.
Oh, dear.
Okay. First of all,
no.
it just means you're observing people. You're not an amateur sociologist.
No.
You're watching people.
You're at a grocery store.
Yeah. He was resentful that
You know, I've noticed people are hungry. Picked up on a lot of stuff over here.
He was resentful that rich people had tabs and that poor people, quote, gamed the welfare system.
Jesus Christ. I love hey, it's the little things. It's the little seeds.
They bought soda with food stamps and then sold it for cash.
It's so fucking funny.
Get yourself a Coke.
It's so funny.
Get a Coke over here.
It's so funny in a country with so many very rich people to be like, these poor people want soda.
Yeah.
Fucking dare you.
It's just...
You ain't got soda money.
It's just, who gives a shit?
Crazy.
They'd buy, quote, food with food stamps and beer, wine, and cigarettes with cash. Okay.
Yeah, they're fucking depressed,
Yeah,
asshole. They live in a
Let
country that you... what the fuck are you talking about? What do you think? What do you think is going on right now?
Hey, you lost your job.
And what do you think, the rich don't spend their fucking money on vodka? People like to drink. We tried to outlaw it for 9 years, and the country couldn't function.
Well. Didn't go well.
I got one real quick story, then I'll shut up. My buddy Brett, you're welcome. My buddy Brett went to a Bucks game once, and this is insane. They were doing the Bucks fan of the game, and so Bango, the Bucks mascot, is going around, and he's trying to pick the fan of the game. And my buddy Brett sees Bango, and Bango's about to give the guy he went to the game with a year's full of free Usinger sausages until Brett just starts dancing a little tipsy at the end. So he reaches over the guy who brought him, and he gives it to Brett. So Brett won free Usinger sausages for a year, but they only gave him like regular and Italian. But basically, he could take these coupons to the Sendix, this grocery store, anytime he wanted and get a box. But there were other flavors, so he started hating the two that he could only get. So he started hanging out near the Usinger sausages in Sendix. And when someone would come over and they'd grab the Italian, he'd go, "Excuse me, miss, I noticed that you were going to buy the Italian ones." And the person would be like, "What's going on?" And he'd be like, "I have a coupon for those for free. So if you bought the Polish kind, if you just ring those out, I'll simply go up there and get you a case." And they were like, "I don't understand. What's going on?" He'd be like, "So basically, I won a bunch of these sauces."
Oh,
and
my God.
people would be like, "Get away from me."
Especially if you knew the way Brett looked, it would totally make sense.
It's just, "Excuse me, ma'am, I noticed you were reaching for the Italians."
That's fucking crazy. So he's also upset that some people on welfare have cell phones when his family doesn't.
Okay.
Whatever. Who gives a shit?
It's
just like, mind your fucking business.
I just cannot get into the weeds of what poor people can and can't afford if you have Elon Musk about to be a trillionaire.
Right. If you're,
I can't get you get rid of that. And then I'll start shaming the purchases with you if you want.
Yeah. What about not giving the oil companies $50 billion a year?
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah. So when let's solve that economy.
Yeah.
And then you can start telling me who can buy sodas.
Yeah. He was also upset that he had to pay taxes on his small paycheck.
Sure. Well.
While his welfare drug addict neighbor bought T-bone steaks.
This is the origin story is already pretty grim.
Yeah, you have a shitty brain.
Yeah, you're looking for this.
Quote, "It was my first indication that the policy of Mama's Party of the Working Man, the Democrats, weren't all they were cracked up to be." Now, I just want to say, I think this is fucking bullshit.
You think that he's kind of retroactively creating his Joker vat of acid
100%.
Right.
I think he worked at a grocery store and didn't think of anything.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe he got a little mad that people had tabs and he couldn't. Maybe he didn't like that someone had a cell phone, but this whole fucking, this is like, this is what, he's like fucking 14 or some shit?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, come on.
Like, I already knew what was going on.
He says this is why the Appalachia region and the South turned from Democrat to Republican.
This this general, everyone was just a societal scientist.
Yeah, the policies of the Democrats did all this.
Yeah.
Not race or religion or anything like that. It was just the Democrats and their policies.
Yep.
Often in hillbilly elegy, JD uses the term we. We scream and yell at each other. Our kids go to foster care but never stay long. We don't study as children, and we don't make our kids study as parents. We choose not to work. It's all we, because he's a hillbilly. They are we, right? Mm-hmm. They're we together. Nothing about the circumstances. It's all their own bad choices. And he's not from Appalachia. He's from Middletown, Ohio.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. that to me is the biggest problem.
But my mom and papa taught him to love America and that it's the greatest country on earth.
Okay.
Quote.
Agree or disagree?
I'm going to disagree.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. You wouldn't think I would, but
no,
yeah.
you seemed a bit of a homer to me.
Yeah. Quote, this fact gave meaning to my childhood. It's just so fucking, it's so dumb. Who read this and bought this shit?
It's very Scott Walkery.
Yes, it's very Scott.
I
thought of that while I was doing the story. It's very Scott Walker.
Yeah, it's very like here are the issues that raised me.
Yeah,
and you're like, buddy, you're a big dumb idiot. So I don't care about how you got there.
Yeah, and then just saying that like your grandparents' love of America is what gave meaning to your childhood. What the fuck are you talking about?
I also think that wouldn't it play? One of the things that it seemed like Trump did so adeptly the first run was he was the first guy who was like, there's a lot of fucking problems here.
Yeah, this is kind of shitty.
Like, don't you want someone who is coming in and going like, guys, we really fucked up. We got to do a lot differently ASAP.
Like if your campaign slogan was "We really fucked up," you would win the election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what is behind MAGA to some extent, but that's obviously
also
yes. Where it's not like it's not like that's gonna fucking do it.
Yeah. So at 16, he vowed to go out of his way to shake the hand of any veteran he met, even if it was an awkward interjection.
I'm in the middle of a psychiatric evaluation.
Go, put her there.
Well, hold on.
Put her there.
Sir, leave this man alone. He's having trouble with... He doesn't want to touch people right now.
Put her there, sir. I just want to shake your hand.
I'd rather not.
I want to... Oh.
My right arm doesn't move right now.
Well, let's shake shake your leg. Not that.
Just do it. It's the only way to get him out of here.
How about rub your nose?
Jesus Christ. I am rubbing the nose of every veteran I see.
I want to thank you.
I'm J.D. Vance, and I will rub the nose of every veteran. You're a good little man. Yeah. He's got a wet nose. That means he's healthy. Healthy little boy.
The opening.
Is he a boy or is he a girl? Oh, I see a little penis.
Okay, stop. The opening of Chapter 10. Quote, during my last year of high school, I tried out for the varsity golf team.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the impoverished youth.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. The poor kid playing golf.
The varsity golf team.
Like, how do you write a book about being this a hillbilly, impoverished nightmare? Oh, I almost made the golf team.
What do you think, 7-iron? What do you think, wedge?
His SATs were good
By the
enough.
way, is that bum drinking, what is that, a grape soda? It's disgusting. Excuse me, I'm going to tee off. Now watch me hit this drive here.
His SATs were good enough to go to college, but they couldn't afford it.
This is where our stories take a different turn.
Well, let me just say this also. Like, I talked to an admissions person from USC once, and she brought up how they hate people from really rich high schools because they get every opportunity, and they might not be that good as students. But kids that have gotten really good grades in a tough situation, they like a lot more because that kid they know will do well.
Right. Values the opportunity more.
So if you get good grades and you're from a school that's having all these problems, you're going to stand out and you are going to get more opportunities.
Right.
So it was 2002. It's a year after 9/11. Do you remember what that is? Guy drove a Buick into a building.
I don't remember.
They always say remember it, and I always forget.
I don't remember what it was.
I know, right? That's why I feel bad, because they're always like, remember 9/11, and I'm always like,
are they?
I rack my head, and I just can't remember.
probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, they probably did it.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay. So he joined the Marines. Quote, like any self-respecting hillbilly, I considered heading to the Middle East to kill terrorists.
You know, what's... first of all, it's just obviously shocking. I mean, it's like a wrestler's... You know, that's like what a wrestler would say, essentially.
Yeah.
But also, when you see J.D. Vance, no part of you is like hillbilly. Like, he's not playing that character as well as he should, if that's what he's going for.
No, and while researching this...
we both did the research.
I watched some videos.
Okay.
And there's a hillbilly accent.
There is.
There's a very...
Genuine?
Eastern Kentucky, like in that area, there is a genuine accent, and this guy doesn't have any of that shit.
Oh, right. That's what I mean, right.
So it's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, well, it's not really, because he's from Ohio.
Yeah, he's from Ohio. But also saying, like, any self-respecting hillbilly, I consider heading to the Middle East to kill terrorists, it's such a, like, base, bullshit, stereotypical nonsense.
Well, it's like how a video game pitches you a quarter.
It just says there's no diversity of thought within this community, which is fucking bullshit.
Binary, go kill terrorists.
Yeah.
You got to go to the place and kill the terrorists.
Yeah.
And it did work.
It did work, yeah. It was great. He said he thought if he didn't go, he thought he would regret not participating in America's newest war.
I mean, our greatest.
Mm-hmm. So Mama's pissed. She said he was an idiot. But he goes and joins the Marines anyway. And in April 2005, Mama had a collapsed lung and infection, and she died.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Now, JD gets sent to Iraq.
Sure.
He does not kill terrorists. He was a, quote, public affairs Marine.
A public affair. What does that mean?
He's a propagandist.
He's a PR Marine?
Yeah, he's a fucking PR Marine. He's a propagandist. He does propaganda. That's what he does.
Well, he was already kind of practicing it, so.
He escorted press and wrote stories about units that were fighting.
You'll see, this is where the terrorists are. And can you believe some of these terrorists are drinking orange soda pop?
No direct fighting at all. He did get a commendation.
They sell those at CVS.
For running media relations well at a biannual air show.
Oh, my. I mean, honestly, you turn that down. You turn that down.
You did turn it down.
You're like, if that is my Purple Heart, I don't want it.
No.
You know, I remember when I served as the man who walked people from the press back and forth at an air show for 3.5 hours. Memories from that day will never leave me.
It's just so fucking bad.
It's just like, you did a good job at the picnic.
Jesus Christ, man.
Framed on his wall.
Hey, how'd you get that medal?
Well, I don't really like to talk about it, but...
Oh, no. Was it hard?
Oh, yeah. Remember the Iraq War?
Yeah.
I wish I didn't.
Oh, God.
Let's just say one day there were about 15 people.
Yeah.
A press corps.
What?
On an air carrier.
What?
And they needed to go talk to 3 different admirals.
Oh, okay.
And they needed someone to walk them back and forth and show them where the taco bar was.
Oh.
I'll tell you, the crunches I heard that day will never leave me.
Oh, my God.
Took over 2 hours.
I'm gonna go now.
And then I went
I'm walking
into my quarters where I lived alone. A lot of people had to share bunks. I didn't. And I jerked off.
Okay,
I had a VPN, so I was allowed to get porn on there.
Did you get the award for jerking off?
No. Those people from the press, every one of them survived. There was no incoming fire that day, but boy, I'll tell you, there was when I got back to my barracks.
Okay, I have to go now.
Well, let me lead you out of here.
No.
There's no one better than J.D. Vance to lead you out from one room to another when there's no pending damage or threat.
Stop talking.
All right. Now, come on, boys. You're going to dig deep and walk out of this room as one.
Oh, shit. The Dollop is brought to you by Litter a Robot.
Oh, buddy. You want me to start now, or you want to go?
Go ahead, kid. Get in there.
It's the best. I truly am always doing an ad for Litter Robot in my world of people. The greatest compliment that I guess I get over that is that people are like, your place doesn't smell like cat litter or bathroom, whereas I guess it used to, and nobody had the heart to tell me. But there's an app connected to it, but it pretty much does everything on its own. It just takes care of it. If your cat uses it, as soon as your cat's out, it just rotates it. It puts it all in a little reservoir beneath it, in a bag, and then you toss that bag out.
Notifies you on your phone.
Notifies you on your phone, but you don't need to change. You don't need to like scoop it.
Yeah,
it's just
all on its own.
It's the best.
That's why it's
the
robot.
best.
Over a million happy pets and parents have upgraded to Litter Robot. So what are you waiting for? Whisker is currently offering $50 off Litter Robot's bundles. As a special offer to listeners of the show, go to stopscooping.com/dollop and use promo code dollop to save an additional $50 on any Litter Robot bundle. That's $100 off any Litter Robot bundle at stopscooping.com/dollop and use promo code dollop. Stopscooping.com/dollop, promo code dollop.
All right.
We are also brought to you, I don't know if you've heard of this place, Gareth, Squarespace.
Oh, Dave, I actually hit my head recently, and all my memories have evacuated from my brain. What is Squarespace?
Squarespace is all-in-one. You got your websites, domains, everything you need. You can sell products on there.
As a guy who, again, doesn't remember anything, that sounds like it's the peak of convenience. Makes it easy and is expanding in the opportunities that it provides you.
That's correct, Gareth. It is so easy. You can do flexible payments. You can make checkout seamless for your customers with simple but powerful payment tools. They take PayPal and Apple Pay and credit cards in tons of eligible countries, and they offer customers the option to buy now and pay later with Afterpay.
I don't remember anything from my past. I'm sure if I had a website, though, it probably would be from somewhere else, right?
No, Gareth,
used it?
You have Squarespace for your GarethReynolds.com. I use Squarespace for my webpage. And then, of course, both of Dollop's The Sources page and our website, all with Squarespace. We are all in with Squarespace.
It's starting to ring a bell.
You can easily manage your clients and invoices, from vetting leads to receiving payment via invoices in one streamlined, customable workflow. You can sell content. You can sell exclusive content right on your site by adding a paywall and sell memberships or courses, or sell files to your customers. They can download like PDFs, music, or ebooks. It's all doable. It's so
very
easy.
doable.
And they got 24/7 support.
A little too doable.
Yeah. So check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/dollop to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I'm going to say that again, squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/dollop to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
I think I'm going to do it.
After 4 years in the Marines, he leaves in 2007, and he goes to college at Ohio State in Columbus. Much of that is covered by the GI Bill. Gastrointestinal.
Yep.
He also got a job with a state senator, and JD said there he gained a real respect for the political process.
Well, let me tell you something, JD. This is where you're definitely wrong.
He said they weren't crooks like Mama said. They're good people doing good things. Mm-hmm. He also worked at a nonprofit, and he said his work schedule was so intense that he ended up in the hospital after untreated mono turned into a staph infection.
Well, I mean, that's on
him.
Know. That's not like...
I also don't know if that's what happens with a mono.
I mean, I don't either, but...
It seems...
It's definitely
the whole
kissing
thing
disease.
Seems like horse shit.
Sure.
He now had hospital bills, and he took a third job as a tutor to pay for his bills, and this is why he said he supports universal health care. I don't know if he still does. Like, I bet if you asked him today, he would say he didn't, but... But we don't have universal health care now. JD, however, says he chokes up when he hears Lee Greenwood's cheesy anthem, Proud to be an American. Jesus Christ. Look, if you tear up when you hear the song Proud to be an American, lobotomies are a thing you can do at home.
It's just... There are people who... probably genuinely do feel that way for whatever the reasons are.
But tearing up.
Anyone who is involved in politics or near politics is tearing up so that if you make fun of them, you're unpatriotic. The idea of hearing that song, I mean, first of all, Lee Greenwood looks like he's made out of Clint Eastwood's wrinkles. He looks so crazy now. He could not look crazier.
Yeah.
But, and also, there was probably a time when you were like, yeah, that song now at this point is like, come on, what are we, really?
Yeah. What are we doing?
Stop.
What are we doing?
This is no longer, we're not allowed a slogan here anymore.
Look around.
I mean, honestly, it's not good.
But the idea that you like talk all this shit about the place you're from and how the people aren't that great and they don't do anything and they're lazy and stuff, and then you're like, proud to be an American. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, it's that attitude that lets them get away with murder in the billionaire rich person class.
That's right.
You know.
So he graduates from Ohio State in 2013 with degrees in political science and philosophy. He gets a generous financial aid package to go to Yale Law School because he was one of the, quote, poorest kids in school. His
That's true?
Yes, his entire year at Yale, on the house.
Okay.
Total free ride. He called Yale the cheapest option because of the financial aid package they offered.
Okay.
So far, this self-made man has gotten a GI Bill pass, gotten that for, and now Yale has given him.
So surely he's a socialist.
The reason for this is because part of Yale's, I guess, should we call it a DEI program, is to give aid to those who will be the first to get a degree in their family.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's called the Braggart program.
Yale calls them first-generation professionals.
That is so demeaning.
How to ruin a fucking...
That is so demeaning.
And you get a little sash that says, I'm a big boy. There you go. And a little cupcake with your little candle.
Look at you gonna go be a bigger worker.
I can only imagine how those people are treated at Yale. Like,
oh, God.
Like, just like...
Quiet, here's one. Oh, hi. Oh, welcome. Way to go. Run, don't catch poor.
In his book, J.D. says those who succeed are ones who have high expectations of themselves as opposed to structural support or, luck or whatever.
Sure.
At Yale, he felt like an outsider because he was poor's.
Mm-hmm.
He was invited to an elite Yale dinner but didn't know what spoons were for.
What happened?
Why'd y'all put the musical instruments next to the eating devices?
What's happening? I don't know what's happening. I have a question.
I mean, that is so, arch...
Okay, but I'll also say this. Like, there was a story, 10 years ago, I think it was Clemson, but they had started to teach kids table manners and all of the fucking utensils and everything, how to use them all properly, because no one knew. Because kids just aren't taught that anymore. So even at a top school with rich kids, they don't fucking know. It's not a thing that... I don't even know if I knew. Like, if I went to college, I don't even know if I knew at that point what the different spoons were for.
Oh, the different spoon? Yeah, I wouldn't know what the different spoons are.
That's got nothing to do with being from fucking...
Yeah.
It's just
Soup
not...
spoon, the big guy. That's what logic would lead you to.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also, a beautiful thing about the evolution of this country is we're not really a utensil culture anymore.
No, we're not. No.
We're bag to hand.
No, we're not two forking it.
No. And we all scoffed at this spork.
We did.
But now,
That's
really,
all
is there a
coming.
better,
That's the thing.
Is there a better utensil?
He spit out the sparkling water because he didn't realize it was carbonated.
Hey,
fuck you!
Everyone, help! Help me!
You played golf, motherfucker! Like what?
What is this? There's little spaceships inside of my regular water. Oh no! What to do?
This water's poisoned with bubbles.
Nobody drink this. It's got what comes out of the scuba diver. Run! Oh, what?
It's just
look. Up until now, I think you could sell a lot of people on the idea that you're like, gay jinx, what's inside this water? No.
It reminds me of in the movie Heathers when they pull out two sparkling waters out of a bag, and the cops are like, "Well, they're gay."
Yeah,
like, it reminds me of that.
Also, how can you tell me that this guy sees poor people drinking soda and is like, no, and then drinks this with water and is like, what did you put decarbonation? How about deep working?
I mean, it's 2000 and fucking like it's
Look,
everywhere.
LaCroix's already hot.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And when he'd go back to Middletown, he would lie to them about being at Yale, is what he says, which I don't believe.
He would lie to them about,
he'd be
like, I'm not in there.
He like ashamed of how well off he was.
Right.
Like,
how well he's doing. They certainly don't have soda in their water.
He meets his future wife. It's either Usha or Yusha. I should have looked that up. I did look it up, and now I don't remember.
Okay.
Yusha Chilikuri at Yale.
Okay.
They were in a discussion group on the social decline in white America.
Oh, fuck me.
He was told.
Oh,
he told her he was in love with her after
that would be the
one
perfect
date.
room to just crazy. That would be the perfect room for gas to just come into the vents. Hey, these doors are locked. One date, he said he loved her.
Yeah, that's like runaway. That's like if there's a dude and he says he loves you after one date and you stick with him, you're both fucked up.
Yes, no. That's like, truly, men should have training to be like, here's what you don't do.
Yeah, this is him going, I've never been on a date before.
By the way, I'm the guy who can't stop orgasming. I love you.
At Yale, he was also mentored by Amy Chua, who is known as Tiger Mom. And she's a professor at Yale, the law school, and a corporate lawyer.
Okay, great. That's perfect.
She's Chinese-Filipino. She writes a ton of books.
Great.
On international affairs, on culture and socioeconomics, and, of course, parenting, which is where Tiger Mom comes from.
Great.
Her Tiger Mom book was a huge bestseller, but some have called her parenting child abuse.
Well, I mean, a tiger raises a child way different than a woman would.
Yeah, you pick them up by the neck and carry them around.
Absolutely. You got to eat one or two every now and then to show dominance.
Yep. She's also Catholic.
Okay.
Keep that in mind. Make a note of that.
Okay.
She was executive editor at Harvard Law Review. Guess who was also an editor at Harvard Law Review for a year as a student? JD.
Oh.
Almost as if he had a connection there. So JD met Chua when she was publishing her Tiger Mother book. Quote, Amy just took an interest in me and what personal experiences had made me who I was.
Sure. What are you pitching here?
Well, you'll see.
They porking?
No, not porking. He saw her success, and she encouraged him to write his own book. And, of course, she had connections. Because she's got...
I am going to write a book. It's going to be called There's Soda in This Water.
Bubble? Why are there bubbles in the water in the book?
It's called, believe it or not, They're Drinking Bubble Water.
So he would write little snippets of his life and send them to her. Chua, quote, when I read the first couple of passages he sent, I thought, oh my God, not only does this guy have a story, but he writes with such honesty. Everybody needs to read this. She said she was very bothered by criticism of her books, which JD relates to. JD does not like criticism. So Chua became his mentor.
Okay.
As far as the kind of person JD's mentor is, when Brett Kavanaugh was accused of sexual assault after his nomination, Amy Chua backed him. She said he was a mentor to women, and her daughter would go on to clerk for Kavanaugh.
Oh, fuck me. You know what? Here's what sucks. I mean, that whole thing is annoying, obviously. But what really sucks is that it just, like, it's like when you circle back to some of these names in more recent history and you're like, yeah, like there was outrage and they just fought you down and now he's there and it's over.
It's over.
And that's it. And Brett Kavanaugh is like That red-nosed W.C. Field yelling about squeeb, party calendar, sexual assault to smokes likely, just there.
Yeah, and he had it was like $100,000 of loans just all of a sudden disappeared. It's just also blatant. But she having her kid go to clerk for him, she puts her ideology over her kid's safety. Not that he would sexually assault the kid, but that's a man you don't want informing your child.
So what you got to do is
the kid's world, right?
You want to have a couple beers at lunch. We call that a wet lunch, and that's pretty good to do. And you're going to want to do that a lot. And then when you go to dinner, you have a martini or two, maybe an old-fashioned, something like that. But again, crushed beers. That's the main move. At that point, you can drive home, or if you get to the point where I am, you can just take an Uber home. If it's a female Uber driver, you can tell her that, you want more than she's willing to give you, and you can take it. And then the next morning, you wake up at Squeebs, and then you do it again. So,
don't touch me.
What do you want to do again?
Run.
Yeah. For what? Public office?
You.
Oh. You want to be a Supreme Court justice. Well, we don't call that running. We call that anointing.
So, as far as JD goes, he asked Chua to help him get a clerkship, and he was shortlisted, but then she told him not to take it. It's too demanding, and it would ruin his relationship with his lady.
Sure.
So he becomes close with other classmates at Yale, and one was a trans man, Sophia Nelson, who goes by they. Both were from Midwestern working-class neighborhoods.
Okay.
So that's how they became friends. And JD also said he turned to atheism while at Yale, which...
like it's pot. That was the first time I tried not believing.
He later called...
That's so funny.
He later called that arrogant and fashionable. The fashionable...
It's fashionable for your personal belief system. For a couple years I tried atheism. I don't know. I guess I just believed too much beneath it all. What?
It seems the biggest thing that came from Yale...
One night at a party, I tried being agnostic for about an hour.
Oh.
And, a couple nights later, I did my first hit of atheism. And that led me down a slippery slope for a while.
How'd that feel?
Pretty weird. After recovery, I became a Christian finally.
I'm uncomfortable.
That's where we need you.
So the biggest thing that came from Yale was when he went to see Peter Thiel speak.
Oh, fuck me. Jesus. Some of these names are going to drive me crazy.
Thiel co-founded PayPal.
With Elon.
And he's a huge VC guy. He helped fund Facebook, so he's a billionaire.
Yes. It's so funny that he helped find Facebook, but then his face is insane.
Yeah. Thiel believes governments, elites, and liberals have gotten in the way of true technological innovation.
Look, we need children's blood for me. Mainly Mexican kids. Why aren't you all looking at me weird? Is it because my face is the veiniest part of my body?
JD, quote, Peter's talk remains the most significant moment of my time at Yale Law School.
How to tell when to jail people. What?
I mean...
But isn't... you're getting to it. But I mean, Thiel... And surprisingly, Peter Thiel had a lot of money to give JD.
Yeah, so that's why I think this is the most significant.
Yeah.
Not because of what Thiel said.
No, because of what Thiel does.
Yes. Yeah. So not the content of the speech. That's the networking. It's meeting Thiel. That's the extent of it. JD said, quote, we sort of had a conversation that led to a job offer. But it didn't right away. Because just before graduating from Yale, JD officially changes his name to Vance to honor his grandparents.
Sure. That's such a weird...
It's a weird one, right?
It's strange, because it's like, when more people... It's weird.
Well...
Can you just love them?
It's not weird if you're thinking...
I'm also going to go by Papa.
It's not weird if you're thinking of an origin story.
Yeah, right. Yes. Right. Boy, that is so fucking weird.
Oh, yeah. Towards the end of law school, Lindsay called JD and told him their mom...
And also refer to I play the jug.
damn.
It's got 3 X's on it.
His sister said his mom's on heroin now.
Okay.
But she's going to rehab. But JD was like, that's not going to change anything.
Right.
So he graduates in 2013. In his book, he describes himself as a Yale outsider who blew law firm interviews and didn't know what it meant when he was asked if he preferred Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc.
Stop it with the liquid. Stop it with your unrefined mouth.
I couldn't tell the difference between Coke and Sprite.
No, wait a minute. They got a rosé, so it's like a white fucked a red. You guys, I just wrapped my mind around bubble water.
Oh God, this wine has bubbles in it.
Oh my God!
My God, it's poison like that water I had once.
What did he call it? Campagne? Oh my God!
I mean, it's just all.
By the way, the idea that you're even near a circle that can tell the difference between Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc is actually the problem. You know what I mean? Every time I go to a bar or a restaurant or whatever, and I'll order like a Malbec, they'll be like, "We don't have Malbec." I'll be like, literally, if you put any red wine in this glass, I won't know what. I'll believe it to be Malbec.
Yeah.
Like the idea that you're like, no, it's a bit buttery, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the vast majority of people don't know shit about wine.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Yes.
In college, you're mostly drinking beer.
Yeah, but
maybe it's changed, but that's how it was.
I don't know. No, I think, well, whatever.
So, that's just fucking bullshit. So he conformed quickly and took advantage of social and academic opportunities.
Sure.
New York Times quote, he cooked for charity fundraisers, organized reading groups, doted on his German Shepherd Casper, and led the Yale Law Journal's flag football team. He spent a summer working on Capitol Hill. So you don't do all that and then get out of college and not know the difference between between Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc. You all the shit he just said.
What you do in that time is you learn that a way to seem regular is to pretend that you don't know the difference between Sauv Blanc and Chardonnay.
Yeah,
and then you go out and you're like, "What? Did you guys know?" Again, I changed my name to JD Everyman. Did you guys know? I mean, these people are eating waffle fries. I know it's nuts.
In a 2021 speech, he said, due to Yale, quote, I got put in rooms with a lot of very wealthy and a lot of very powerful people. The people who call the shots in business and government. I'm a regular fella.
Yeah. I mean, honestly.
Sure enough, right out of Yale.
Could I have one of the bubble regular waters?
Remember when he said he graduated from Yale and blew all the interviews because he didn't know stuff between? Yeah, so right out of Yale, he clerks for Senator John Cornyn.
You know what he's like? Unfrozen caveman lawyer.
Yes.
He really is just like, your bubbly water frightens me, and your varieties of white wine confuse me. But at the end of the day, I know that poor people shouldn't be allowed to use EBT cards for whatever they want.
Oh, God. So after clerking for the senator, he clerks for a U.S. district judge who was the son of an ex-senator. And then J.D. got a corporate law job at Sidley Austin. Okay. So it's a fancy, very white shoe corporate law place.
White shoe?
That's like...
I didn't know they made shoes in other colors.
A law firm that caters to the top
ultra
companies.
Wealthy.
Yeah. Usher interviewed with SCOTUS judges like Scalia.
Your boy.
In a letter to Sophia, J.D. wrote of Scalia, quote, he's become a very shrill old man. I used to really like him, and I used to believe all of his stuff about judicial minimalism was sincere, but now I see it as a political charade.
Well, it's hard because I like that he doesn't like Scalia.
Yeah.
But...
Well, maybe he just says what he thinks the person he's talking to wants to hear.
That's interesting.
Usha, whatever her name is, who cares, ended up working for Chief Justice Roberts.
Oh, the best.
And then Brett Kavanaugh.
Oh, boy.
On the D.C. circuit.
The best.
He and Sophia exchanged letters regularly. After the killing of Michael Brown in 2014, J.D. wrote, quote, "I hate the police. Given the number of negative experiences I've had in the past few years, I can't imagine what a black guy goes through."
What? So who's he pandering to now?
Well, still to Sophia, who's a lefty.
Oh, right.
His skill, I really think his skill is telling the person talking to what they want to hear.
Right.
I genuinely think, read all the research I did, I'm like, this guy just knows what to say to people.
Shapeshifter.
Yeah, a shapeshifter, yeah. By 2015, J.D. said he was sick of the legal profession.
Sure.
And D.C., and he moved to the Bay Area, California. So now, I don't know how this worked with his wife. I couldn't figure it out. She definitely kept clerking. So I don't know if he's splitting time or what's going on. Mm-hmm. He joined Circuit Therapeutics, which was a biotech company.
Boy, he's in San Francisco. This robot takes your veins out.
And it's a car.
Okay.
Circuit Therapeutics, a biotech company looking to solve neurological pain. And focused on veterans, so they got a bunch of Defense Department money.
Oh, all I do is touch veterans. Oh, so they got defense. Yeah, great. You know, it'd be great for the Defense Department to just fund the VA. You know what I mean?
I don't know why.
With all that VA, with all that capital that they can put into Silicon Valley concept moonshots,
liberal stuff.
Give the VA money.
Are you okay?
Pitching, helping the veterans.
I don't know. It just seems like you don't care about America.
Give the money to the. Listen, we know we're going to help the veterans in the long term. Mm-hmm. That's why we came up with this brain robot. Why don't you just give them the brain robot money? Make their lives better.
Now, are you wondering how JD all of a sudden got this job?
I mean, it's very interesting.
The CEO said he hired JD, quote, because he was very smart, with an impressive background in the law, but also was a favor to Peter.
Oh, so yeah, it's just all Teal.
Peter Thiel. So it's Thiel. So Thiel is... Remember he said it led to a job when he had that first conversation with him? Yeah. Well, this is years later.
Right. Well, and I mean, Peter Thiel is like the king. So
yeah, and he had invested in one of the CEO's other companies. So
right.
So clearly JD kept in touch with Thiel.
Sure.
Right? Maybe they bonded over their love of the Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
JD is a big fan. Cool. His favorite author is Tolkien.
Sure. He's a Tolkien white guy.
Thiel named his company Palantir, which we all know is the crystal ball used by Saruman.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Saruman uses that as the crystal ball.
Palantir is a secretive big data analysis and surveillance company that works for government agencies, the U.S. intelligence community, and private corporations. The CIA was a big early investor.
Yeah, and I think that's very Tolkien.
Yeah, very
very Tolkien. Absolutely.
So that's what you think of when you think of a crystal ball.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, the crystal ball is, an intelligence collecting drone.
Yeah. It was connected to Cambridge Analytica, which mined Facebook data to help Trump win.
Great company.
Yeah.
That guy, when you watch the Cambridge Analytica guy, he was just, he did not know he was being filmed or something. Yeah. It was just like, we can literally convince people that you're just like, buddy. Do you have a conscience?
Thiel also named the VC company he co-founded Mithril, which is what Frodo wore on the quest to Mount Doom, and Thorin gave to Bilbo to protect him.
You know what? He should come up with a way to reanimate Tolkien so he can rip his nuts off. Just be like, you didn't listen.
The right wing has an idiotic obsession with Tolkien.
Yeah, all right.
Fascist PM of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, used to cosplay as a hobbit.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Why would you cosplay as a hobbit? Of all the things in Lord of the Rings.
Someone crunch me down.
I want to have really ugly, hairy feet.
Yeah, you would think that they would be golems.
Right, you could...
like a room full of golems.
Like, no, my precious. My precious. No, my precious. No, it'd be my precious. Our precious.
Rick Santorum is a huge Tolkien fan.
Oh, cool. Well, he definitely walked away with the lessons properly, too.
Quote,
Rick Santorum, when they tried to put him in that conservative prick role on CNN, they were like, Rick, I hate to tell you, you're even too big of a prick for that fucking role.
Right.
Like, nobody likes you.
quote, I'm also someone who believes that the message of Tolkien is that evil must be confronted. So the idea...
And expanded.
So the idea is that, well, we can wait until it comes to the Shire, but that is not a very good game plan. You got to go to Mordor.
Give people social services. You fucking assholes. Stop. Just take all the money from Peter Thiel and redistribute it to the people who need it.
I mean...
You know, it's pretty complicated because we're on our walk to Mordor right now, and we're really Bilboing when we need to Frodo a little. Shut the fuck up.
But you know what they don't take away is the fact that, okay, they did go confront evil, but what did they do to do that? Well, they gathered up everybody from all the different groups. All of the different people had to work together.
Yeah.
They're just like, only elves!
Yeah. We need to kill the hobbits.
So, also, Tolkien didn't want people to read his text one way, like no allegories. He didn't want...
Right.
Exactly what they're doing is what he didn't want. Anyway, whatever. So now, J.D. uses his relationship with Thiel, and he's just starting to cash in on it. He wasn't at Circuit Therapeutics long, but when he was there, he would pitch to VC companies, like Thiel's VC company, Mithril, where he pitched several times, and then that's where he gets a job next. Mithril Capital, he started 2 months before Hillbilly Elegy was published.
So he's about to be on top of the world.
Yeah, it's very interesting timing for all this, right? He was mostly gone promoting the book. A coworker, quote, it never seemed like he was even working. It felt like his full-time job was the book. So
Yeah,
So a conservative guy who's being, I don't know, maybe groomed by the right to have a big political career, and he's funded by one of the biggest billionaires in the country and helped out by right-wing Yale law professors. And then, right before his book is published, he all of a sudden has a way to support himself without actually doing any work, and he can just do press and make checks. It almost sounds like... It's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. Sounds like he works in Silicon Valley.
But they were just like, well, if the book makes money, you'll be good. But if the book doesn't make money, I'll take care of you.
Yep. Welfare.
But this is exactly how it works with the right wing.
Yeah.
They just get fucking money to do shit.
Yeah.
And he was out there pushing a narrative.
And they hate socialism.
Yeah, and they hate socialism. So, the New York Times, quote, colleagues mostly remember him for introducing them to the ultra-sweet Big Red soda. So they don't remember him for doing any work?
So he can't have soda? I'm just so lost on this guy's soda journey. Wait, so they were just like, boy, you gotta meet JD. He's a real all-shuckser. You ever heard of Faygo Cherry? Oh, JD, you gotta tell him about it. And he's like, well, it comes in a bottle that I'm actually from people who used to do jam bands on the porch. You know, I'm from a shanty town, but it's actually sold in a 3-liter bottle, which is pretty rare.
I mean, he didn't do anything there except come around and go, have you ever had Big Red?
They're like, wow.
So the book is published. Again, he gets tons of help. Back to Amy Chua, who is a huge author with tons of connections. JD, quote, when the book first came out, she probably emailed every single television producer and personality in the United States of America.
Oprah.
Chua, quote, I emailed everybody. They were these creepy emails to people like Tom Brokaw with lots of smiley faces and exclamation points.
Yeah, listen, Chua, I'm going to write back right now, but quite frankly, you've done one too many emojis for me. And now I will send you an eggplant emoji and the dookie.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
As in, I'm going to fuck your shit up. More later, Tom Brokaw.
Anyway, he's clearly a self-made man. So it's just so obvious they're grooming him for the world of politics.
Yeah.
The book starts as a conservative bestseller because the theme is, you are the reason your life sucks, not society or politics or job availability or poverty. It's
man.
you.
I really do hate the bootstrap culture.
The bootstraps thing is the worst. A month after publication, he was interviewed in the American Conservative magazine, and from that point on, it was a hit. And then liberals found out. You know, you brought up Oprah. Oprah actually never recommended it.
But didn't she?
There's a headline that says, it says something about Hillbilly Elegy, and then Oprah's, new list, but they aren't related. And so it was just a poorly written headline.
Right.
But then everybody goes, look, but she actually, I
think
was
she
hoping
had him
did.
on for A Million Little Bubbles. The first time I had Perrier.
So liberals love it because they're desperately seeking an answer for Trump's popularity, and they don't want to look at their support.
So that timing is insane.
They don't want to look at the Clinton support of NAFTA or Obama's terrible response to the housing crisis. They just want to look at what, and so now they can blame the poor.
Wow, so he really was able to be at that intersection.
Perfect moment in time.
Wow.
Huffington Post, quote, Vance truly shines when he takes us with him down the holler into an America we thought we knew.
He wrote a fairy tale.
New York Times quote.
Turns out Santa isn't black.
New York Times quote, essential reading for this moment in history.
Oh, God.
But
I mean, it's not surprising when you hear these publications, glob the knob, but it's also just like... We got to stop listening to these places.
Absolutely. The book is full of contradictions. He points out structural and societal issues, then blames individuals for the circumstances. He points out social isolation, churches that no longer offer social support, unemployment, a, quote, peculiar crisis of masculinity, and says many would see these as systemic issues, but his experience says otherwise.
You know, the way that MAGA actually harkens back to the Southern strategy, dog whistling racism, this concept of men are no longer men really is trying to push you back when a guy could fucking hit you because supper sucked. It's like, who's clamoring for the old-fashioned man?
No one. No one. So he tells of working at a tile warehouse, and he says many of the workers were shit and didn't last long. So that proves they bring poverty on themselves.
Crazy.
They're, quote...
crazy.
They're, quote, immune to hard work. You can walk through a town where 30% of the young men work fewer than 20 hours a week and not find a single person aware of his own laziness. Dude, you just said the factories are closed. They can only get 20 hours of work a week. You fucking ass clown.
This really this kind of gives you the his internal monologue when he walked into that donut shop and he was trying to kind of like figure out and people were just like, "Hey bro, we like hate your guts and hate our job." And he was like,
"What's your favorite kind of donut?"
Yeah, well,
how long you been making donuts?
That's a great example of how he's not what he says he is. Yeah. Because if you were from the working area, if you understood working people, there's no way that's the conversation you have at all.
No,
you just don't have that conversation.
No,
he walked in like a rich guy who doesn't understand pores.
Yes, yeah, he walked in there trying to be like, "I'll play the part of every man."
Yeah. How long you worked here?
Yeah.
Okay.
He ate a donut and he was like, "Someone put cream in a donut?" What?
So he's saying factories are closed and unemployment is high, but they're all lazy. Okay.
Sure.
He ignores racism. He writes off the belief that Obama is a Muslim by saying, well, he went to 2 Ivy League schools. Just totally ignores that George Bush and Bill Clinton went there. He basically said Obama is too clean and perfect and from a big city and wears a suit to work. He said he wears a suit to work. He said Obama wears a suit to work. He says Obama wears a suit to work.
So great. Look, he golfs.
He paints himself as the hillbilly voice of Appalachia, but he's not from Appalachia. He's from Middletown, Ohio, a factory town that avoided the serious closures of towns like Youngstown. Kentuckian Jared Yates Sexton called
he's the best.
Damaging rhetoric that endorses policy used to gut the poor and discounting racism. The New Republic called him a, quote, false prophet of blue America and said the book was, quote, a list of myths about welfare queens repackaged as primer on the working class. Historian Bob Hutton called it, quote, primarily a work of self-congratulation.
You're right.
Yeah.
Very much so, right.
But again, liberals loved it. I remember talking to liberals at the time, and I was like, you should read what people who are from there are saying. And they totally dismissed it. And I was just like, it's like I'm talking to a wall. Like, I'm telling you, the people from there are saying this is bullshit, but they were so wanting the narrative.
Right.
Bobby Kahn, who's actually from Kentucky, quote, for those of us who grew up mired in poverty, surrounded by addiction, these systematic problems feel like being trapped in quicksand that only wants to pull you further into despair. There are no boots nor bootstraps, no solid ground to get your footing when each day is a struggle for survival. But the message is individualism and blaming the poor, and that hits the sweet spot. And JD's now famous. In October 2016, he told Charlie Rose he was a, quote, never Trump guy.
Charlie Rose in his head was like, I remember earlier when I showed that woman my penis at work.
What, you can't come to the door in a bathrobe with it open?
Do you have tomorrow's production schedule? Jesus Christ, Charlie. What?
He is just such a classic example of, like, you're so lucky to be where you're so lucky to be an interviewer who
somehow you got
level.
here.
Yeah, somehow you got here. It's like it's a skill, but it's not so skilled that you're one of the top two or whatever. Yeah. And then
you're
on
very
top
replaceable.
of that, you're just like, well, I can walk around with my dick out now.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking crazy.
I'm gonna smoke my pipe and have my robe open. Does that bother anyone? Charlie, what's going on?
JD also called Trump an idiot, and in The Atlantic said, quote, Trump is cultural heroin. On NPR, quote, I think he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Well, by the way, if anyone knows what heroin can do to a person, it's a guy who really didn't grow up around it at all.
That's right. But at the same time, he seemed to enjoy that Trump got under the skin of liberals and the media. JD wrote to Sophia, quote, if he would just tone down the racism, I would literally be his biggest supporter.
It's crazy to write these Civil War letters, but about, I wonder if Trump would ever be able to tone down some of that rhetoric. I'll tell you, I don't hate the man, but the tweets drive me mad. I miss you, my love.
After Trump won, liberals flocked to the book even more as they sought an explanation for what had happened. Hillary Clinton also blamed those hillbillies for her loss. Quote, a culture of grievance, victimhood, and scapegoating has taken root as traditional values of self-reliance and hard work have withered.
Unreal.
There's a tendency towards seeing every problem as someone else's fault, whether it's Obama, liberal elites in the big cities, undocumented immigrants taking jobs, minorities groups soaking up assistance, or me.
Oh, my God. I'm just going to punch a hole through your wall. I'm so mad. I love when government is like, we're trying to get to the bottom of what the issue is. It's like, you motherfuckers.
JD was having issues and not getting along with Mithril's managing partner, so he moved on.
That sentence is crazy.
Mithril's
just not what I thought it would be.
So he moves back to Ohio, and he bought a mid-century Gothic revival in an expensive Cincinnati neighborhood for $1.4 million. He announced he was going to focus on fighting the opioid epidemic in Appalachia.
What? From my castle with my ravens.
Everything he fucking does is so obviously geared toward a political career that it makes me insane that they're like, he didn't want to do it, but they dragged him in.
Yeah, right.
It's just
he is just laying the track.
Yeah. Okay, so, whoops, did I move forward? Yes, I did. Sorry. I put it down. It moved. Okay. So back in Ohio, he also takes a job with another VC company in Washington, D.C. named Revolution. So he's going to split his time and live in both places. His wife is still clerking for SCOTUS.
Uh-huh.
So the way the Revolution thing came apart is he had met the founder, Steve Case, who co-founded AOL, before the election on Twitter, and they started DMing each other.
Oh, God. I mean, that is awful.
Even these guys do it.
Yeah. You seem pretty evil. What's up? Yeah, well, right now I'm lying about a bunch of shit because I think I'm going to run for office one day.
Oh, that's pretty good. I have a lot of money and I'm kind of evil.
So before the election, they met at a fancy hotel in D.C. and learned they both believed in, quote, bettering the country by investing in outside tech hotspots like South Carolina and Kentucky. Trump country.
Mm-hmm.
Case called it the, quote, rise of the rest effort.
It's like, it's like you're like, it's interesting-ish, but no, not you, and no, not that.
And also causing a rise of the rest. Let's help the others.
Yeah.
JD was supposed to find startups outside of big places, like not Silicon Valley, not New York, to fund. And Steve Case said JD was at the job at Revolution, quote, wasn't really working that much.
Cool. He's going to be great. And fit right into our political system.
Another investor told Business Insider, quote, I don't recall anyone at Rise of the Rest bragging about something JD Vance brought to the fund. But he was a guy who was always on TV and talking about the plight of rural whites so he could boost the fund's profile.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And then
it's like when a famous person goes to teach at a school. You're like,
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Mitch McConnell then approached JD and asked him to consider running for the Senate, but JD passed because of his family.
I couldn't possibly. Mitch McConnell's just like, well, you're very good. It's actually not bad. You just make a bunch of money.
And then Ron Howard came on as director and Brian Glazer as producer to make the film version of Hillbilly Elegy. And that is the end of part 1.
2 parts?
And part 2...
Oh, shit, my coffee spilled.
Fucking disgusting.
My coffee
also,
spilled.
Gareth's coffee spilled. Sources.
Right,
Sources.
I want to make sure it didn't go in the curtain.
Okay.
It didn't.
Okay.
Wait.
JD. Yeah. All right. Whatever. It's a dark curtain. Congratulations, though. JD Vance, Hillbilly Elegy. BaptistNews.com.
I'll be right back. When you're done with the sources, I'm getting paper towels.
Okay. Ian Ward, the 7 thinkers and groups that have shaped J.D. Vance's unusual worldview, and Politico. I'm just going to say it. Politico.com, Bobby Kahn, In Time, Stephanie Saul, J.D. Vance, An Unlucky Friendship and Why It Ended, New York Times, King Jordan, Newsweek, Helen Koster and Graham Slatery in Reuters, Kroll, Andy and Bernstein, Andrea in ProPublica, Chris Morris in FastCompany.com, Dan Primack on Axios. This is a weird one. Kinder, Tabby, Hammond, George, and Rogers, Alex, Financial Times, and then there's a lot more. Wikipedia, Politico, The Atlantic, AP News. Yeah, go ahead. People Magazine, Business Insider, tropicsofmeta.com, Washington Post, Forbes, Mother Jones.
A lot of sources.
Beacon Journal, CNN, Columbus Monthly, Norwich Bulletin, India Express.
They have great food.
New York Times, The Guardian, Public, West Virginia Public.org, Axios, The Lamp Magazine, American Conservative. All right.
A lot of sources.
There'll be more next week.
Calling on Gareth Force. This is Gareth, part of the bad boys of this podcast. Listen, go to GarethReynolds.com for tickets and information about these shows I'm about to mention. Also, go follow me on Instagram or any of that stuff at Reynolds Gareth. But I'm going on the road. I will be in Greenwood Village, Colorado, September 12th through the 14th at Comedy Works. San Diego, September 18th. Bakersfield, September 20th. Manchester, Connecticut, September 24th. Albany, New York, September 25th. Syracuse, New York, September 26th. Ontario, California, October 2nd, Tempe, Arizona, October 3rd. I'll be at Helium in Portland, November 1st through the 3rd. Then I will be in Eugene, Oregon, November 4th, and Bend, Oregon, November 5th. 2 shows, November 6th in Seattle. One of them is close to selling out or sold out, so we added a second. November 7th, I'll be in Vancouver, British Columbia. Then you can see me on New Year's Eve in Austin, Texas at the Great Cap City Comedy. Like I said, that's New Year's Eve. Go to GarethReynolds.com for tickets and information. Be part of the Gareth Force. At Reynolds Gareth, GarethReynolds.com. That's where you can get all your stuff. Gareth Force, join me. Love you. Marry me.